So here's my philosophy on long draw. I'm not going to be pulling the band, so I'm going to leave my glasses up. There's a reason for it. The reason sticking with the frame that you already have, a cheap frame, and the size that you enjoy, and style you enjoy, is you're not having to learn anything new there. Because odds are when you come off your face, starting to learn long draw, something's going to happen with your hand. You might be gangster, you might stay there. I went to here, and I've shot this way for a while, but this, the tip forward, is the way I prefer. So I did that, and the reason I say a 4.5 elongation factor is now you're taking the bands and pushing it behind your head. The problem with pushing it behind your head is it's behind your head. So you're trying to figure this out with an object that's going to be propelled from back here. Hitting yourself is going to hurt. Okay, so lower elongation factor, less pain. You're still going to have plenty of power, trust me. Measure it at a 3/4 draw, because that 3/4 draw is a good middle ground from long draw, which is at your shoulder. 3/4 draw is 90-degree elbow, and long draw is straight armed, right? Or full draw. So you're going to find, or I found, that my pouch, how I held it, changed. I went from holding something like this to this, like I was holding a teacup. This went from here to here. So all these things changed. Why am I going to introduce a new factor? Thus the lower elongation factor. Now, this is going to hurt, but whatever. You got this sitting here, right? You got it touched, because this is what you got to learn, how that feels on your cheek. Now, right here is about right, okay? It's about right. However, if I lean in, I've got a little more pressure on my cheek. My hand disappears back here. That means my hand is now behind my head. So when I let go of these bands, that elastic is going to rip through here. It's going to pull, and it's going to pull this too. Odds are, once it does that, it's going to fling it out, so it's not going to hit my forks. First time you do this and you get a good butterfly kiss and you pee on yourself a little, you're going to do just the opposite. You're going to take it and push it out to here, just where it's not even really touching your cheek. There's a good chance you're going to hit your hand by doing that. So, figuring this out when you're at your shoulder and you don't have a lot of power coming out, right, is advantageous because it won't damage your frame as much. By the way, clay is your friend. It won't damage your frame as much as if you're full draw, five or higher elongation factor. And when you hit yourself in the hand, which you probably will do, it's not going to hurt nearly as much. Not going to do as much damage. So those are the reasons that I say do it that way. Because you got to figure out how that feels on your cheek. That's going to be a big deal, because that is your anchor now. This is your pouch. Release is very important with long draw. Because if you release it wrong, one pouch isn't completely square. It's got a lot further to go to angle down to hit your frame or hit your hand. So that release is super important. Start at your shoulder, then push back from there once you figure out a lot of these pieces. And as you go back, your elongation factor will go to 4.5, but it'll be ripping down through there. Just your bands will last a little longer. When you go to full draw with that measured at 3/4, you're going to be going 5 a little over elongation factor, so it's really ripping. Mind you, All of that speed is from behind your head. So you want to really understand what the fuck is going on before you come away from that shoulder. Trust me. Trust me. It hurts a lot. So, once you've figured all that out and you've got it, all right, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this, you're going to find that you're getting hand slapped, because now your bands are probably going to start to be a little overpowered because you've got that high elongation factor, because everybody wants more power, baby. But if you drop that elongation factor just a little, you'll find that you'll get less hand slap. And there's a couple ways to do that. For me, what I did when I was shooting 8 mil, I went from 0.5 at a 20 to 12 taper, taped it to 70, because that's actually closer to my full draw. So at full draw, I'm a little over 5 with taped at 270, 500% elongation. 3/4 draw, I'm more around 4.75 elongation. So I still got, I had a ton of power. I was getting some pretty good hand slap when I was shooting 0.5. So 0.5, 20 to 12, 270. I was getting a little bit of hand slap. So I also tipped forward. So remind you, that's adding a little bit of distance. Only a little bit, but it's still adding. So when I bought new latex, I dropped it down to 0.45. And I dropped my, hold on. Before I dropped the thickness of my band, I dropped my taper to 16 to 10. I eliminated even more hand slap. Still a little, because I like mantis style. I shoot tipped forward. So after I'm doing a lot better. I'm getting a lot less hand slap. Then I went to 0.45 at a 16 to 10 taper. So 16 to 10 at 0.5 helped a little, but 16 to 10 at 0.45 I got even less. Mind you, I tipped forward. You may not have this issue. You might be fine. So I found that at about, we'll say 40 yards, I was flat. I didn't have hardly any drop. I had very little drop, if any. When I switched over to 1/4 inch, I was still shooting 0.45, 16 to 10, 270, and I was getting a lot of hand slap because that was so overpowered. Now I shoot 16 to 10, 0.4 with 1/4 inch, and I don't get hand slap. Every once in a while, if I pull back to full draw. At 3/4 draw, I'm golden. So it's a balance of power versus hand slap with your technique and other things. But at ECST, the 25-yard target, which, I missed quite a few times, I was still flat by the time it got to the weeds, which I'm going to say are probably 35, 40 yards. I was still flat. It started dropping shortly thereafter, but the point I'm trying to make here is you're going to have plenty of power for target shooting and everything else at that 4.5 elongation. So don't sweat it, because you've got a lot of latex. And if you want to change it, well, that's simple. Just adjust it. Anyways, I'm going to shut the fuck up now. I'm sure there's shit that I've missed about long draw. You guys have a good one. I'm out. Bitch is too long anyway.